Your parents lied to you about money, not because they were bad people, but because they believed the lies their parents told them. And now you're passing the same lies to your children. This is how poverty becomes generational. Think about it. Everything you believe about money, you learned from people who never achieved financial freedom. Your parents worked their entire lives and retired with just enough to survive, if they were lucky. Your teachers spent decades in underpaid jobs. Your mentors followed the same path everyone else did. And they all gave you the same advice. Work hard, save your money, play it safe. But here's the brutal truth. That advice kept them broke. And it's keeping you broke too. Not because they wanted you to fail, but because they genuinely believed these were the rules. They thought they were protecting you, teaching you responsibility, preparing you for the real world, when in reality, they were handing you a blueprint for struggle. This is the inheritance most people receive. Not wealth, not opportunity, but beliefs. Limiting beliefs about money that get passed down like genetic traits. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. You need money to make money. Just get a good job and you'll be fine. Each one sounds reasonable. Each one feels true, and each one is a lie that keeps you exactly where your parents were. You feel it, don't you? That frustration, that sense that something's wrong with the advice you were given, that confusion when you follow all the rules and still end up struggling. It's because the rules were designed to create workers, not wealth builders. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that those in power maintain control not through force, but through accepted norms, beliefs that people defend even when those beliefs harm them. And the modern economy runs on 7 core lies about money that sound like wisdom but function as imprisonment. What I'm about to reveal are the 7 lies you inherited about money. 7 beliefs that feel like truth because everyone around you believes them too. 7 myths that keep entire families trapped in the same financial struggle, generation after generation. And once you see them, you can break the cycle. This isn't motivation. This is liberation. Here's the first lie that's been passed down for generations. Work hard and you'll get rich. This is the most dangerous lie of all because it sounds so obviously true. Of course you should work hard. Hard work is noble, virtuous, the foundation of success. Except it's not. Hard work is the foundation of being used. Think about the hardest working people you know. Construction workers, nurses, teachers, single parents working 2 jobs. They work harder than most CEOs ever will. They sacrifice their time, their health, their families. And where does it get them? Paycheck to paycheck. One emergency away from disaster, working themselves to exhaustion for someone else's profit. Now think about the wealthy. Do they work hard? Some do. But that's not why they're rich. They're rich because they control systems that work for them. They own businesses that generate income while they sleep. They have investments that compound without their effort. They've built leverage, and leverage multiplies output without multiplying input. The lie isn't that hard work is bad. It's that hard work alone will make you rich. It won't. It never has. Because in the equation of wealth, effort is capped. There are only 24 hours in a day. You can only work so hard before your body breaks. But leverage has no ceiling. One system can generate more wealth than a lifetime of labor. This is why your parents worked 40 years and retired with almost nothing. Not because they didn't work hard enough, but because hard work without leverage is just expensive energy. The wealthy understand this. That's why they build, invest, and delegate. That's why they focus on systems, not hours. And this is the trap that keeps families poor for generations. Parents work hard, struggle, and tell their kids, "I worked hard, you need to work harder." The kids work harder, still struggle, and tell their kids the same thing. The cycle repeats because no one questions the lie. Everyone just assumes they're not working hard enough, when the real problem is they're working hard in the wrong direction. So what's the truth? Hard work is the entry fee. But wealth comes from leverage, from owning assets that work for you, from building systems that generate income without your constant presence, from multiplying your effort through other people, other people's money, and automated processes. Stop measuring your worth by how hard you work. Start measuring it by how intelligently you build. But here's the next lie that keeps you broke. Here's the second lie. Save your money and you'll be safe. This sounds responsible, practical, the kind of advice a good parent gives. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because saving money doesn't make you safe. It makes you a slow loser in a game designed to transfer your wealth to others. Let me show you how this works. You earn $1, you save it. Congratulations, you're being responsible, except that dollar loses value every single year through inflation. The government prints more money, your purchasing power decreases. That dollar you saved today will buy less tomorrow. You're not building wealth, you're watching it evaporate in slow motion. Now here's what the wealthy do with that same dollar. They don't save it, they deploy it. They buy assets that appreciate, real estate, stocks, businesses, things that grow in value faster than inflation. So while you're protecting your dollar in a savings account earning 0.5% interest, they're multiplying theirs by 10%, 20%, sometimes 1,000%. Same starting point, completely different outcomes, but it gets worse. The system is designed to punish savers and reward debtors if you know how to use debt correctly. The wealthy borrow money at low interest rates to buy assets that generate higher returns. They use other people's money to build wealth. Meanwhile, you're being told to avoid debt, save your pennies, and play it safe. You're following the rules, they're playing a different game. Think about your parents. They saved diligently, put money in the bank, felt responsible. And what happened? Their savings barely kept up with inflation. Their nest egg was enough to survive, not thrive. They played it safe and ended up dependent on Social Security, on a pension that barely covers costs, on hope that nothing goes wrong. This is the lie that creates lifelong financial anxiety. You save and save and save, and you never feel secure because you're not building wealth, you're just delaying poverty. You're trying to protect what you have instead of growing what you could have. And this is why generational wealth doesn't come from saving. It comes from investing, from taking calculated risks, from putting money to work instead of putting it to sleep. Saving is what you do to survive. Investing is what you do to build freedom. So what's the truth? Save enough for emergencies, 3 to 6 months of expenses. After that, every dollar should be deployed into assets that grow. Real estate, index funds, businesses, skills that increase your income. Anything that appreciates faster than inflation eats it. Saving money doesn't make you safe. Building assets does. Your parents didn't know this. Now you do. But here's the next lie, and this one destroys more dreams than almost anything else. Here's the third lie. Follow your passion, and the money will follow. This is the dream they sell you. Do what you love. Chase your passion. The money will come. It sounds inspiring, liberating. The kind of advice that makes you feel like anything is possible. And for most people, it leads straight to financial ruin. Here's the brutal truth. Passion without profit is called a hobby. And hobbies don't pay bills. The world doesn't care what you're passionate about. The market doesn't reward passion, it rewards value. And if your passion doesn't create value that people are willing to pay for, you're going to be a very passionate, very broke person. Think about how many people followed their passion into poverty. Artists who can barely afford rent, musicians working side jobs, writers who never get published, athletes who didn't make it pro. They did what they loved, they chased their dreams. And most of them ended up exactly where their parents were, struggling, wondering why passion wasn't enough. Now contrast that with people who built wealth. Most of them didn't follow their passion, they followed opportunity. They identified what the market needed, what people would pay for, and they built that. Was it always exciting? Number. Was it always fulfilling? Sometimes. but it was profitable, and profit gave them freedom to pursue passion later, on their own terms, without the pressure of survival. This is the difference between passion as a strategy and passion as a luxury. The wealthy make money first, then indulge their passions. Everyone else chases passion first and spends their lives stressed about money. One group has freedom, the other has struggle disguised as purpose. Here's what they don't tell you. You can be passionate about something and still approach it strategically. You can love art and sell it smartly. You can love music and build a business around it. You can love writing and monetize it intelligently. The passion isn't the problem. The lack of business thinking is. Your parents probably told you to do what makes you happy, to follow your heart, to chase your dreams. And maybe they believed it would work out. But most of them ended up in jobs they didn't love anyway, because passion without pragmatism leads to poverty, and poverty forces you to take whatever job pays. This is the lie that creates the most regret. People spend their 20s chasing passion, their 30s recovering from the financial damage, and their 40s wondering what went wrong. They did exactly what they were told, and it failed them. So what's the truth? Build wealth first, create financial stability, then pursue passion without the pressure of survival. Or find the intersection between what you love and what the market values, and build there. But never ever follow passion blindly and expect money to magically appear. Passion is fuel, but without a profitable vehicle, it just burns out. But here's the next lie, and this one keeps people poor by making them hate wealth itself. Here's the fourth lie. Money is the root of all evil. This is the most insidious lie of all, because it makes you morally opposed to the very thing you need. It convinces you that wanting wealth makes you greedy, that pursuing money makes you corrupt, that rich people are inherently bad, and as long as you believe this, you'll sabotage every opportunity to build wealth, because deep down, you don't want to become what you've been taught to hate. Think about the phrases you heard growing up. Money can't buy happiness. Rich people are selfish. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. The love of money is the root of all evil. Each one plants the same idea. Wealth is morally suspicious. Good people don't chase money. Humble people are content with less. But here's what that belief actually does. It keeps you poor. Because if you believe money is evil, you'll never aggressively pursue it. You'll accept low pay because money isn't everything. You'll avoid business opportunities because I don't want to be greedy. You'll stay stuck because staying stuck feels virtuous. And that virtue is your consolation prize for a life of financial struggle. Now let's look at reality. Money isn't evil. It's neutral. It's a tool. And like any tool, it amplifies who you already are. Give money to a good person, they do good things. Give it to a bad person, they do bad things. The money didn't change them. It revealed them. The wealthy understand this. They pursue money without guilt because they know money gives them options. The freedom to choose where they live, how they spend their time, who they help, what causes they support. Money isn't the enemy of goodness. Poverty is. Poverty limits your ability to help others. Poverty traps you in survival mode. Poverty makes you dependent. Your parents probably believed this lie. They probably viewed wealth with suspicion. Maybe they criticized rich people. Maybe they told you to be grateful for what you have. And maybe they genuinely believed they were teaching you good values. But what they actually taught you was to be comfortable with struggle, to see virtue in limitation, to make peace with less. This is how the lie spreads across generations. Poor parents teach their kids that money doesn't matter, because accepting that belief is easier than admitting they failed to build wealth. And the kids absorb it, repeat it to their kids, and the cycle continues. Everyone stays poor, everyone feels virtuous about it, and no one questions whether the virtue might actually be the trap. So what's the truth? Money is a tool for freedom. Pursuing wealth isn't greedy, it's strategic. And the more money you have, the more good you can do, if that's what you choose. But first, you have to give yourself permission to want it. to pursue it, to build it without guilt. Stop associating poverty with virtue. Start associating wealth with options. Your parents couldn't separate the two. You can. But here's the next lie. And this one makes people believe their situation is just bad luck. Here's the fifth lie. Rich people are just lucky. This is the lie that absolves you of responsibility. That lets you believe your financial situation isn't your fault. That convinces you the game is rigged and there's nothing you can do about it. Rich people won the lottery. They had connections. They inherited money. They got lucky breaks. And you? You just weren't lucky enough. It's comforting, isn't it? Because if wealth is just luck, then being broke isn't failure, it's circumstance. You can stop trying, stop learning, stop taking risks. After all, why bother? You can't control luck. But here's the brutal truth. Luck is what unsuccessful people call the result of other people's preparation. Sure, some wealthy people inherited money, some had advantages, some caught breaks. But most of them built wealth through specific, repeatable actions. Actions you're not taking because you've convinced yourself it's all just luck anyway. Let me show you what luck actually looks like. Someone starts a business. It fails. They start another. It fails. They start a third. It succeeds. From the outside, that looks like luck. They finally got lucky on the third try. But from the inside, that's called iteration, learning, persistence. They weren't lucky. They were relentless. They kept trying until they figured it out. Now think about the average person. They try once, it doesn't work. They quit. I guess I'm not lucky. But they weren't unlucky. They just stopped too soon. They gave up before the lessons compounded, before the skills developed, before the breakthrough happened. Your parents probably believed this lie. When they saw someone succeed, they probably said, "Must be nice to be lucky." When they struggled, they probably said, "We never catch a break." And what did that belief do? It made them passive. It convinced them that success was something that happened to other people, not something they could create. So they stopped trying, stopped learning, stopped taking risks. And they stayed exactly where they were, not because they were unlucky, but because they believed they were. This is how the lie spreads. Parents who feel unlucky raise kids who believe in luck. Those kids grow up passive, waiting for their break, never realizing they're supposed to create it. And when nothing happens, they pass the same belief to their kids. 3 generations of bad luck that's really just 3 generations of inaction disguised as victimhood. Here's what the wealthy know. Luck is a factor, but it's a small one. The real factors are knowledge, action, persistence, and pattern recognition. Learn how money works. Take calculated risks. Fail fast and adjust. Keep going until you figure it out. That's not luck, that's process. So what's the truth? You don't need luck. You need a plan. You need to learn how wealth is actually built. Not through chance, but through specific strategies. Real estate, business ownership, investing, skill development. These aren't lottery tickets. They're predictable paths. The wealthy aren't lucky. They're informed and persistent. Stop waiting for luck. Start creating opportunity. Your parents waited. You don't have to. But here's the next lie. And this one stops people before they even start. Here's the 6th lie. You need money to make money. This is the lie that justifies inaction. That lets you say, I'd start a business if I had capital. I'd invest if I had savings. I'd build wealth if I weren't broke. It's the perfect excuse because it sounds logical. Obviously you need money to invest. Obviously you need capital to start a business. Right? Wrong. What you actually need is resourcefulness. And the gap between money and resourcefulness is the gap between people who stay broke and people who build wealth. Let me show you how this works. Someone wants to start a business but has no money. Person A says, I need money to make money. Guess I can't start. Person B says, I have no money. What can I do with what I have? Person A stays stuck. Person B starts a service business with 0 capital, reinvests the profits, and scales from there. Same starting point, different mindset, completely different outcomes. The truth is, the best time to learn how to make money is when you have none, because having no money forces you to be creative, to trade time for skills, to barter, to hustle, to figure out how to create value without capital. And those skills? They're more valuable than money itself, because once you have them, you can always make more money. Your parents probably believed this lie. They probably looked at business opportunities and said, "We don't have the money for that." They probably saw investments and thought, "That's for rich people." And so they stayed employees. They stayed consumers. They never built anything because they were waiting for money they'd never have. But here's what they didn't realize. The wealthy didn't start with money either. Most of them started with nothing and built resourcefulness. They borrowed. They partnered. They offered equity instead of payment. They started service businesses that required zero capital. They figured it out, not because they had money, but because they refused to let the lack of money stop them. This is the lie that creates generational passivity. Parents who believe you need money to make money raise kids who wait for capital that never comes. Those kids believe the same thing, wait their whole lives, and pass the belief to their children. 3 generations of inaction. 3 generations of someday when I have money. That someday never comes, because they're waiting for permission they don't need. So what's the truth? You don't need money. You need a skill the market values. You need a problem you can solve. You need the willingness to start small and reinvest. The wealthiest people didn't start with capital. They started with hustle, learned as they went, and built from there. Stop using lack of money as an excuse. Start using lack of money as motivation. Your parents waited for money. You can start without it. But here's the final lie. And this one is the most dangerous because it makes inaction feel wise. Here's the 7th and final lie. Playing it safe is smart. This is the lie your parents believed most deeply. Get a stable job. Don't take risks. Play it safe. That's the responsible thing to do. That's how you protect your family. That's how you build a secure life. Except it's not. Playing it safe doesn't make you secure. It makes you dependent. Dependent on an employer who can fire you. Dependent on a paycheck that barely covers expenses. Dependent on a system that profits from your predictability. You're not safe. You're controlled. And you call it security because the alternative, taking risks, building something, betting on yourself, feels terrifying. But here's the brutal reality. The riskiest thing you can do in the modern economy is play it safe. That stable job, it can disappear in a recession. That secure paycheck, it's capped and losing value to inflation every year. That safe path, it leads to 40 years of work, with nothing to show for it but a pension that might not be there when you retire. Meanwhile, the people who took risks, who started businesses, who invested in assets, who bet on themselves, they built actual security. Not dependence, but independence. Not one income stream, but multiple. Not a job, but equity. Not safety, but freedom. Think about your parents. They played it safe. They got the stable job. They avoided risks. And where did it lead? To decades of stress about money. To retirement that's more survival than enjoyment. To a lifetime of financial anxiety disguised as responsibility. They did everything right according to the rules. And the rules failed them. This is the lie that traps entire families. Parents who played it safe teach their kids to play it safe. Those kids spend their lives afraid of risk, avoiding opportunity, staying small. And they teach their kids the same. 3 generations of safety that's actually just 3 generations of limitation. Here's what the wealthy understand. Playing it safe is the riskiest strategy of all. Because when you play it safe, you give up control. You depend on systems that don't care about you. You trade security for the illusion of stability. And when that illusion breaks, and it always does, you have nothing to fall back on because you never built anything of your own. So what's the truth? Real security comes from taking calculated risks, from building multiple income streams, from owning assets, from developing skills that make you irreplaceable, from betting on yourself instead of betting on a system that sees you as replaceable. Playing it safe isn't smart, it's surrender. Your parents surrendered. You don't have to. Now that you've seen all 7 lies, let's talk about what this means for your future. By now, you understand the inheritance. The 7 lies you were taught to believe. The myths that sounded like wisdom but functioned as chains. And most importantly, you understand why following that advice kept your family stuck. Not because you weren't working hard enough, but because you were working hard in the wrong direction. Imagine waking up 6 months from now. You've rejected every lie. You're not working harder. You're building leverage. You're not saving compulsively. You're investing strategically. You're not following passion blindly. You're following profit intelligently. You're not feeling guilty about wanting wealth. You're pursuing it without apology. You're not blaming luck. You're creating opportunity. You're not waiting for capital. You're building with resourcefulness. You're not playing it safe. You're taking calculated risks. While your parents' generation is still trapped in the same beliefs, still working jobs they hate, still stressed about money, still wondering why nothing changed, you'll be operating from a completely different paradigm. You'll see opportunities they can't see. You'll make moves they wouldn't dare. You'll build wealth they thought was impossible. This is when the cycle breaks. You're no longer inheriting poverty disguised as wisdom. You're no longer defending lies because everyone around you believes them. You've crossed into something different. Not because you got lucky, not because you had advantages, but because you questioned what you were taught and chose truth over tradition. The inheritance ends with you. The wealth begins with you. So remember this. The 7 lies you were taught about money weren't designed to help you. They were designed to keep you obedient, working, predictable. And they worked. On your parents, maybe on your grandparents, and they'll work on your children too if you let them. But you don't have to let them. You can be the one who breaks the cycle, who questions the advice, who rejects the lies, who builds wealth instead of inheriting struggle. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Every day you believe these lies is another day the cycle continues. Pick one lie from this video, examine it, test it, see if it's actually serving you, or just keeping you exactly where the system wants you. As Machiavelli understood centuries ago, those in power stay powerful by convincing people that their poverty is wisdom. The moment you stop believing that lie, you stop being their fuel, and you start becoming their competition. The inheritance was lies. Your legacy will be truth.